We'll see if they have the Bolt or the Unholy Heat here. No? Maybe? Well, I think our opponent is just dead then. Hello and welcome, guys. We are back here for match 3 with the list that you see on screen. If you're interested in a deck tech and other details about the deck list and why we're playing the cards that we're playing, then check out match 1, where you'll find all that good stuff. And yeah, we are just here to jump into match 3. I will see you guys in the games. By the way, last round we did play against M. Hayashi, another content creator for YouTube, and I believe he has a Patreon now as well, so if you're familiar with M. Hayashi, or even if you're not, go over there and support his content. Alrighty, let's hop in here for the match. Probably not on the play again. Never mind. Obviously, we're on the play every time, without fail. We get a turn 1 Grazer into Saga hand, or we could play turn 1 Reclaimer. Not sure what we'd be looking for. I guess a bounce land would help this hand quite a bit. I think going Grazer into Saga is probably a little bit stronger. We definitely want to get Saga out on turn 1, I think, if at all possible, so obviously we're keeping this. I have to imagine Grazer into Saga is going to be the play here. And I'm going to set up this breeding pool here so we can potentially transmute this Tolaria West. Another singleton blue source, and we'd be able to transmute from hand without having to do anything else. But in the case that we happen to find a bounce land off the top, we can play out the Tolaria West, float all the mana, and then use the bounce land to pick up the Tolaria West and then transmute it. Although, to be honest, at that point, we'd probably just be transmuting for another bounce land. But our opponent plays a Shock Steaments and passes. Interesting. No? Oh, they do have Ragavan. Okay. I was curious if they would have a 1-mana threat here, because like the read that I was getting was blue-red Murktide, but it would be strange for them not to play a turn 1 creature, so they must have just accidentally yielded. An Amulet is not a bad pickup here at all. Okay, well, this being the case, I think we want to get our Reclaimer into play, so we can use it to set up a bounce land, since we'll have double Amulet, and we'll have tons and tons of mana to do the Titan thing the next turn, so do we play the T-West? I don't see why not. I think there's a possibility that we want to make a creature from the Saga. So, yeah, and not attacking, obviously. If they attack with the... If they kill our Grazer and attack with the Ragavan, I don't think I'm interested in blocking with the Reclaimer. As setting up the bounce lane will be far more relevant. And they would only have 1 mana up, which I guess could technically be enough to Unholy Heat the Titan if they somehow just filled their graveyard. But that's not going to happen either, so they basically have nothing... They have no choice but to hold up counter magic here or hope that we don't have Titan. Either way is going to be pretty good for us, I think. And if they hold up counter magic, we might just want to do the Saga thing. To be honest, we could even just sacrifice the Saga in response to the third counter so we don't end up going down a land. They attack. Well, I will block with the Grazer. That one's pretty free. Again, not trying to trade this Reclaimer. It's got more plans. Another reason why I like... Okay, Bolts is... It happens. It occurs. Another reason I like Reclaimer so much is that with Saga making access to double Amulet much more common, it makes it so that Reclaimer is just generating absurd amounts of mana. Right, so we're gonna... If we float the mana, get an Amulet, transmute for bounce land, play bounce land, Azusa, 1 floating, bounce land, we can cast Titan. Assuming they don't have a removal spell for Azusa. Even an Unholy Heat that doesn't, like, have any other effect attached to it would kill the Azusa. I don't think we're gonna get anywhere by just making a token, though, so I think this is fine. Do we get... We could just get Expedition Map. Nah. I don't think so. We'll get the Amulet. This seems fine. And we'll transmute for bounce land. Of the Simic Growth Chamber variety. And we'll see if we can just do it live here. If our Azusa is good to go, then I feel very good about this. And if it's not, then we'll still have tons and tons of mana, so... Leave a blue floating, because heck yeah, blue is cool. We'll see if they have the Bolt or the Unholy Heat here. No? Maybe? Well, I think our opponent is just dead then. We could go for double Titan here, as I do believe we have 9 mana, but that plays into them having a Force of Negation, which is not something that I want to risk, so maybe picking up the T-West wasn't great. Either way, whatever. Doesn't matter. They're probably just dead. And by that I mean definitely just dead. We get the Boros Garrison, Slayer Stronghold, double haste our Titan to make it a 10-6 hasting attacker, and then we attack and get Vesuva copy the Boros Garrison and Sunhome and double strike it, and that is game. Very nice to have picked up game 1 against Murktide, where we're going to want our explosives to deal with their 1-drops like Darcy and Ragavan, but also it happens to deal with Alpine Moon, which is something they could have. We want our relics and our extra Grazer here, and I think we want Dismembers as well for their turn 1 Ragavans. And Tracker helping us play around counter magic just by giving us additional threats is nice. They could be playing Blood Moon. I don't know if I want to play around that by bringing in Forces or Foundation Breaker. Maybe Foundation Breaker is worth it, so we have a pack target, but Force I'm not a big fan of because it doesn't otherwise do anything. And then in this matchup, we can definitely get rid of the Reclaimers as they just die to removal. Explorer's fine. Azusa just dies to removal. Despite the fact that we just won because of Azusa, I think it's probably not really that great. We can trim on Saga, perhaps, so we don't get punked out by Blood Moon and Alpine Moon. We can trim on Summoner's Pacts for the same reason. I think we can trim on Explorer, as this is going to be more of a efficiency-based matchup, and Explorer's a little inefficient at 2 mana. Not really worth the effect, if I'm being honest. I think we trim a little more on Saga. I apologize, by the way, for the noise in the background. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do about it. At least while I'm talking. We'll trim another Pact. Trim a Castle, as we will hopefully be using Cavern, if at all possible. And we'll just trim another Explorer, because I don't know what else to cut. Very precise here. We get a turn 1 Relic of Progenitus off of a Saga. I mean, if our opponent leads on turn 1 Ragavan, we're in bad shape, but they mulligan to 6. I mean, if they just play turn 1 Ragavan, there's not much we can do about that, but they might not have it. And even if they do, we could still top deck a Grazer or a Dismember or an Amulet and possibly just turn 3 kill them anyways. I think we keep it. If they do play turn 1 Ragavan, it's just going to be a really sad moment for us, but that's kind of just how this matchup goes. Even if we did have, like, mulligan to a hand with Grazer, it's very possible they just bolt the Grazer, attack through with the Ragavan anyways, and we still lose to turn 1 Ragavan. And they have Channeler, so being able to go turn 1 Relic against Channeler is pretty good. I think we do want to play Saga out. Sure, it exposes us to Blood Moon and Alpine Moon, but you can't beat them all. And getting Amulet as fast as possible seems important, so get rid of that Polluted Delta. Gone. Don't like it. Of course, we're using Relic as soon as possible to give our opponent the least amount of options during their turn. Let's say they had something that would let them get something out of their graveyard or whatever. Unlikely this early, but we'll consider. It's a very nice card. Upgraded Opt, if you will. Look at the top card, you may put it in your graveyard, then draw. Nice one. Brazen Borrower also. I'll say milled over the Murktide and the Borrower, one with the Consider and one with the Channeler ability. Right, we're going to do the thing where we relic them again. Cool. And I guess we just play Breeding Pool. We could play Growth Stream or pick up the Saga, but I'm just not I don't think I'm a big fan of that idea. Nah, we'll do this and pass. Again, this Saga is a huge liability. If we can get an amulet out of it, then I'll be happy. Unless, of course, our opponent just, like, abrades the amulet or something, but... Like I said, you can't win them all. Simply cannot. We'll take our 1. And our opponent misses on second land again. This is really tragic for them. We will, of course, get Amulet here. Do we just slam Tracker? We could play Growth Chamber, pick up the Breeding Pool, and transmute. Not sure what that really accomplishes. Let's go ahead and Relic our opponent once. Easy peasy, get that out of the way. I'm not inclined to believe there's an actual reason to play Tracker here in the first place. If it just dies, it's not like that helps us clear the way for, like, a Dryad or something. Growth Chamber and Transmute, what do we get? We could Transmute for another Saga. That's not, like, the worst plan. Could Transmute for Cavern. That's also decent. I think it's alright to just play Tracker. I mean, it's just gonna walk straight into them having a bolt or something, but... I mean, might as well play it now. And if they don't have it, it'll work out for us. So, yeah, they have literally exactly Lightning Bolt. What did I say? I guess this does help them dig for that land that they've obviously been missing. Oh well. Consider, okay. Let's top deck a Grazer so we can play Grazer, up a mana, pack for another Grazer, up another mana, cast Titan. And they still miss on another land. This is just unfortunate for them. Explore. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. It's not like it stops us from playing a Dryad or something, so... And I think we probably do want to Summoner's Pact, I would think. We can Growth Chamber, pick up the Forest, play Dryad, play another land, and then if they have, like, Cleansing Wildfire, we're still not dead to that, so... Force and Negation, okay. Well, now we just play out the Tolari West, I suppose. And we probably need to crack this Relic so that our opponent can't top deck a land and play a third copy of Murktide Regent. So, yeah, I'm willing to just go ahead and throw that one out there, pass it back. Because if they just played land Murktide Regent, we'd be in really bad shape. I mean, I still feel like we may be ahead in that scenario, but especially considering we could use a Grazer to chump block. But I mean, this upcoming turn we have Titan, so our opponents have just really been unlucky to not hit that second land this whole game. So now we have Titan, they probably just lose. Say 5, Grazer up to 6. Yeah, this is just elementary. We can always yield when we only have this singular amulet in play. And I'm actually going to pick up the Tolari West here. Leave as much mana in play as possible. I'll probably leave this Growth Chamber in play also. Considering we have all 4 copies of Growth Chamber, I don't think we're running out of them anytime soon. I'll leave the basic Forest in play, and maybe we can attack and get a second... I guess, actually, there's no reason to play around Blood Moon because they can't cast it, so... I wouldn't be surprised if they just scooped right here, to be honest. See, they have Creature, Instant... If they had, like, Mishra's Bauble and, like, Serum Visions or something, and they had a second land, they could Unholy Heat to kill the Titan. So I think we probably want to bog them as one of the lands that we're about to get after we attack. Again, if they had a second land already in play, I would consider playing around Blood Moon by getting a second Forest, but there's obviously no need to do that, so... I think just Bojuka Bog and something else. Maybe even Urza's Saga, to be honest. We win the match. Well, that felt a little bit unfair, but I will admit that we take those. We don't look back on good fortune. And like I said, winning game 1 was a big part of that recipe, not just getting completely rolled game 1, and then whether we won game 2 or not, we'd probably end up losing game 3. Because Murktide is a difficult matchup, especially if your opponent, actually hits land drops. So, anyways, I still enjoyed the match. Hopefully my opponent is not too unhappy about the result of that, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the match just as much as I did. If you did, leave a like and comment and subscribe and all that good stuff. And yeah, I will see you guys for the next match. This is Redface Menace, signing off.